He joined a fun game show, but accidentally married 3 alien brides. Instead, Ethan Carter never expected his boring life to change in one single night. He was just an ordinary human, a quiet boy, soft-spoken, not very confident, never good at dating. He worked in a small repair shop, came home, ate noodles, scrolled his phone, slept. Every day looked the same. No excitement, no adventure, no love. People knew him, but nobody ever noticed him. That night, while lying in his room with lights off and blanket covering half his face, he saw an advertisement appear suddenly on his screen, bright, flashy, strange. It said, "Galactic Challenge, a dating game show. Win big. Play 3 rounds. Reward beyond imagination." The ad didn't look human. Colors glowing like hologram, the text moving like liquid. Ethan blinked twice. Maybe a scam, maybe a joke, but something inside him felt curious, like a door opening in his chest. He clicked. The screen flashed, music boomed, confetti animation exploded everywhere. Then a message popped up. "Congratulations, you are selected. Show begins in 24 hours. He laughed. Selected? For what? For some alien Tinder game show? Still, fun is fun. Maybe he would win cash. Maybe something interesting finally happens. Next morning he went to the address written in the message. A building he had never seen before, tall and silver, standing between old shops like it was dropped from the sky. No guard, no signboard, just one door with a glowing handprint. He placed his palm. Whoosh! The door opened without a sound. Inside was nothing like Earth. Neon lights floated in air like fireflies. A huge audience sat somewhere above, but they were silhouettes, not fully human. He couldn't see faces, only shapes. A voice echoed across the hall, soft, calm, but not human. "Welcome, contestant Ethan Carter. Species, human. Objective, choose Y. Seeley." Ethan smiled nervously. Cameras pointed at him from every direction, but they did not look like normal cameras. They were metallic orbs floating like mini-planets. A stage rose from the floor beneath his feet, and loud drums shook the air. He waved awkwardly, whispering to himself, "It's just a show, right? Just entertainment." A tall figure walked into the spotlight. The host. Not a human host. A woman. Silver skin, eyes like polished moonstone, hair floating as if underwater. She said loudly, "Ethan Carter, today you play for the greatest prize, a future partner, maybe even more than one." Audience cheered like thunder. Ethan laughed, thinking it was only dramatic acting. The host lifted her hand, and 3 shining portals opened behind her, each swirling with a different color, emerald green, deep blue, bright pink. Portal 1. Out stepped a warrior woman, Zyra, tall, strong, emerald skin, glowing armor. She didn't smile. She looked at Ethan like a challenge she wanted to win. Portal 2. Slowly walked Lunari, blue-skinned healer with calm golden eyes, soft like morning wind. She gave Ethan the smallest warm smile, and something inside his heart melted. Portal 3 jumped out, Vexa, short, pink, electric energy sparkling around her. She winked at Ethan boldly, biting her lip like this was already her game. 3 alien women, 3 different species, all staring at one single shocked human. Ethan whispered, "This is real?" But lights were too bright, music too loud. No time to think. The first challenge began. He was asked strange questions. What do you value in a partner? Ethan answered honestly. Loyalty, kindness, trust. Would you risk your life to protect someone you love? He laughed and said, Of course. Who wouldn't? The audience screamed with applause. The alien women smiled, but their smiles were not playful. They looked satisfied, almost emotional. Then physical challenges came, lifting glowing cubes, solving puzzles that moved in midair, standing his ground when Zyra pushed him with controlled force. He survived every round barely, but each time he passed, the crowd chanted louder, Human! 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 Ethan waved again, heart racing, but still believing this is just a show for fun. But he didn't see the golden symbols forming above his head. Ancient alien marriage contract seals slowly connecting like chains of light. Every answer he gave, every challenge he passed, made the seal stronger. Near the end of round 1, the silver host walked closer, her voice deep and final. By continuing, you accept the bond. The winner does not become your date. She becomes your life mate. The hall went silent. Not a single cheer, not a laugh. Even then, Ethan smiled casually like it was a joke. He raised his hand with a confident grin and said, Sure, I accept. Why not? The entire audience gasped, not in amusement, but shock. The golden seal above him burst into bright flames, wrapping around his wrist like a glowing bracelet. He didn't understand. He didn't know that he just sealed a legal intergalactic marriage contract. He only thought he continued a joke. 3 alien women stared at him, eyes wide, thrilled, hungry, emotional. His fate was decided. He just didn't know it yet. If you are enjoying this kind of HFY sci-fi story, you may gently subscribe to the channel for more amazing parts like this. Did Ethan just accidentally marry 3 alien women on live galactic television? Or will he realize the truth too late? When Ethan returned to the bright main stage, the golden seal around his wrist still glowed softly like a living pulse. He believed it was only special effects, maybe some cinematic trick for entertainment. But the alien audience stared at him with respect, not amusement. Some even lowered their heads like he was royalty. He didn't understand why. The silver-skinned host spread her arms wide, voice echoing like thunder wrapped in velvet. Let round 2 begin. Selection of brides. Brides. Ethan blinked rapidly. He looked left, then right, waiting for hidden actors to jump out and yell, You've been pranked, or something funny. But no such thing happened. Instead, the 3 alien women stepped forward into the spotlight, each stopping only a few feet away from him. Their presence alone felt heavy, like destiny shifting. Zyra, the Emerald Warrior. Zyra stood like a queen of battle. Tall, muscular, emerald skin shining like polished stone. Her armor was decorated with scars and symbols of wars Ethan couldn't imagine. She looked at him like he was a challenge she wished to win. Not a toy, not prey, but a prize she had waited her whole life for. She raised her spear and planted it on the floor with a metallic boom. Human Ethan, she said firmly. On my world, strength chooses strength. I will win you not as trophy, but as partner. Her voice carried power, almost frightening. Yet, Ethan felt a strange pull. Admiration, maybe fear mixed with curiosity. Lunari, the gentle healer. Next stepped Lunari, blue-skinned with glowing golden eyes. A soft aura followed her like calm waves. She looked at him not as prey or conquest, but with a quiet warmth, the way a healer looks at someone hurt and lost. She placed a small crystal on her palm. It floated above her hand like a slow heartbeat of light. Human, you answered with kindness, she whispered. If you choose. Emi, I will protect your heart before anything else. Her voice was like rain at night, gentle, soothing, impossible to ignore. Ethan gulped. This was no ordinary show. Vexa, the pink spark of chaos. Vexa didn't walk. She danced forward, bouncing with electric energy sparking from her fingertips. Pink skin glowing, eyes bright like neon stars. Unlike others, she didn't give a speech. She simply leaned close and whispered loud enough for everyone to hear. I want him, and I will break galaxies for him if needed. Ethan stepped back, cheeks turning red. She smiled proudly, like she enjoyed his panic. Round 2 begins. Competition for the human. The host announced the rules. Only 3 may move to final binding. All 3 may win. All 3 may lose. Decision lies not only in love, but in challenge. Ethan thought, final binding. That sounds like marriage terms. But once again, his mind refused to accept reality. The challenge started. Test 1. Jealousy. Each woman had to sit beside Ethan one by one, talk to him, flirt with him, show what kind of wife she would become. The other 2 had to watch silently. But silence didn't exist here. Zyra sat first. She talked about battlefields, victory, and how she wanted a husband not to obey her, but to stand beside her in war. When she held Ethan's hand, her grip was firm, almost too strong. But Ethan felt strangely safe, like no enemy could ever come near him. But Lunari's eyes dimmed with sadness watching them. Then Lunari sat. She asked him about Earth, about family, about what made him laugh, what made him cry. She spoke to his soul, not his body. When she brushed her fingers across his wrist, the golden seal brightened gently, like it recognized her. Vexa's smile faded for the first time, jealousy sharp and bright. Finally Vexa came. She didn't speak softly or politely. She climbed on the arm of Pau Gioa. His chair leaned inches from his face and said, You want adventure? Run away with me? I will show you stars exploding. Ethan's heart pounded like a war drum. The studio crackled with tension. All 3 wanted him. All 3 were ready to fight for him. And Ethan, still thinking this show was harmless, casually complimented each one. The audience gasped each time he spoke. Because in this galaxy, words of praise count as vows. Praise connects spirits. Praise binds hearts. Selection result, but a twist. After intense rounds of conversation and emotional pressure, the host finally raised her hand. Silence fell across the galaxy. Golden light shot from the seal around Ethan's wrist. Not 1 beam, 3. They connected to Zyra, Lunari, and Vexa, like threads of destiny. The crowd roared. The host smiled slowly. The human has chosen 3 life partners. Ethan froze, lips parted, eyes wide. 3 wives? 3 marriages? With 3 alien species? He laughed nervously, still believing it was only entertainment. The audience bowed their heads. The brides stepped closer, like queens receiving their king. The golden seal expanded, wrapping around his forearm, etching symbols into his skin like burning light. Ethan whispered, voice shaking, Wait, this is real? But no one answered, because the vow was sealed. He was no longer a contestant. He was now a husband of 3 alien women. Will Ethan accept this destiny, or try to run from a marriage that binds galaxies? Ethan Carter opened his eyes with a heavy head and a heavier heart. He expected to see the bright studio lights, maybe a makeup team fixing his hair, maybe someone telling him the show was over. But when his vision cleared, he was not on Earth anymore. He lay on a bed that did not feel like a bed. It was soft like air, shaped perfectly to his body, glowing faint purple underneath. The ceiling above him moved like a slow ocean sky, stars floating across it like tiny souls. He sat up fast. He was inside a spaceship. A real alien starship. Huge room, no visible doors, everything made of silver liquid metal that shifted with touch. The air smelled like flowers he never knew existed. A soft hum filled the walls like the ship itself was breathing. His wrist burned. He looked down. The golden marriage seal had grown stronger, symbols moving slowly like living ink. It was alive. Real. Permanent. Before he could panic, the doors slid open without touch, as if they sensed his thoughts. 3 alien women entered, not as contestants, not as flirty game show players. They entered like wives visiting their husband. The 3 brides stand before him. Zyra, warrior of emerald skin, wore royal armor now. No longer a performer, but a commander. Her tall figure made the room feel designed for giants. She stood proudly at his left side, hand resting near her sword. Lunari, soft blue healer, wore flowing light gown like moonlight turned into cloth. She looked at Ethan with warm eyes, like she already belonged beside him. She placed a tray of crystalline fruit near his bed, voice gentle. "You must be hungry, husband." The word husband hit him like lightning. Vexa, bright pink spark of chaos, bounced in last. Tools around her waist, goggles above her head. She sat on Ethan's bed without asking. Close, too close, her hand resting casually on his shoulder, as if she owned him. He jumped slightly. All 3 watched him, not like strangers, but like their chosen mate. Realization strikes. Ethan swallowed. This can't be real. His voice trembled. It was just a show, a game. I didn't agree to. Zyra stepped forward. You accepted the vow. Her voice was cold but honest. When you said yes, the contract sealed. Lunari nodded with sad kindness. Our 3 worlds waited many years for a compatible soul. You passed every test. You are bound now. Vexa only smirked, brushing her finger on his glowing seal. And you belong to us. Isn't that fun? He stood up, heart racing like thunder in a glass box. No, no. I didn't know. I didn't understand what I agreed to. But the ship didn't care. The universe didn't care. The seal already made the decision. He tries to escape. Ethan ran toward the wall, hoping for an exit. The wall shifted like liquid, blocking him gently like a soft shield. The ship itself denied escape. Zyra moved quickly, not to stop him violently, but to stand between him and danger. Do not run, human. Her voice was firm, not cruel. This union is sacred. Running dishonors us all. Lunari stepped closer, placing a soft hand on his arm. We don't want to scare you. We want to know you, to love you, to build life with you. Ethan's breath shook. Love? Life? Marriage? How did a simple fun show turn into this? A new title given to him, a hologram appeared before them. The silver host, now dressed like a queen of galaxies. Ethan Carter, she declared with ceremonial tone, By cosmic law, you are now three-bound consort, husband to Zyra of the warrior clans, mate of Lunari from the healing moons, partner of Vexa from the Technic hives. Zyra's eyes glowed with pride, Lunari with affection, Vexa with hunger, for adventure or chaos or maybe love. Ethan stood frozen. 3 alien women, 3 heartstrings tied to one human soul. He felt cornered, like a bird held in gentle yet unbreakable hands. Difference between love ownership. The room grew quiet. Tension, thick as gravity. Zyra stepped close, close enough he could see faint battle scars across her shoulders. You will learn to stand beside us in war. I will train you. I will make you strong. Lunari brushed hair from his forehead with tender fingers. You will know peace too. With me, your heart will never break. Vexa leaned forward, eyes shining mischievously. And with me, you will never be bored again. Their voices wrapped around him like chains of silk. He didn't know whether to fight or fall. But a secret is revealed. Just when he felt his world collapsing around him, a deep alarm echoed through the ship, red lights flashing across the ceiling. Zyra turned sharply, hand on sword. Lunari's calm face shifted into worry. Vexa jumped off the bed, typing rapidly on her wrist device. Intruder ship approaching, she shouted. The host's hologram flickered. Your marriages made you valuable, Ethan. Danger follows power. Ethan's heart stopped for a moment. He didn't just marry 3 alien women, he became a symbol, a treasure, a target. Someone out there wanted him. For what reason? To break the union? To steal him? To kill the first 3-bride human husband in galactic history? Ethan didn't know, but fear wrapped around him like cold fire. This was not a show anymore. This was survival. Cliffhanger. The danger begins. The ship shook. Lights dimmed. Zyra pulled Ethan behind her protectively. Lunari whispered a shield spell. Vexa prepared tech blades with a grin too sharp to trust. Thousands of stars outside the window flashed as something dark approached. Ethan realized he had only 2 choices now: run, or learn to stand as a husband of 3 worlds. The alarms continued to scream through the ship as Ethan stood trembling, caught between fear and disbelief. Red lights pulsed like a heartbeat, the heartbeat of a war he never asked for. Zyra grabbed her spear, eyes razor-sharp. Enemy cruiser locked on us. They want the human husband. Human husband. The words stung again. Lunari placed a glowing hand on Ethan's back. Warmth flowed into him, calming his breath, slowing panic in his veins like liquid gold. You're safe with us, she whispered. But safe was a lie. He didn't feel safe. He felt trapped. Vexa typed on her wrist console, sparks popping as she hacked shields manually. If they break through, she said with a wicked smile, we throw Ethan out the airlock and steal him back later. Ethan's face went white. She laughed loudly. Relax, husband, it's a joke, mostly. Zyra glared at her. Lunari sighed. The ship shook again, harder this time. Ethan's legs nearly buckled. He was tired of reacting. He needed control. He needed a plan. The desire to escape grows. While the 3 alien women prepared defenses, Ethan slipped back into his thoughts. Memories of Earth, his tiny apartment, his normal life with no danger, no cosmic marriage contract, no glowing chains on his wrist. He wanted that back. He scanned the room, searching for doors, escape pods, buttons, anything. Nothing. The ship was alive, responding only to his wives. He was a prized guest or a prized prisoner. He made a decision. He would escape, even if just for a moment. He needed space to breathe. The raid. Chaos bursts in. The enemy ship finally struck. Boom! Metal shrieked, gravity shifted, furniture floated. Sparks flew like fireflies around them. A blast door sealed itself with hiss. Zyra roared like thunder, spear igniting with emerald flame. "Stay behind me, Ethan." But he didn't. He ran. He sprinted down the hallway while alarms screamed, while Lunari yelled his name, while Vexa cursed in 3 languages. Every step echoed like rebellion. He didn't know where he was going. The ship curved like a maze, walls of silver liquid shifting as sensors watched him. He turned corner after corner, breathing fast, chasing a possibility of freedom. Behind him, footsteps of 3 powerful wives shook the floor. They followed. He finds an escape pod. Ethan reached a round chamber with 4 small pods attached to the wall, doors open, lights blinking. His heart slammed. This was it. He rushed toward one pod, hands shaking as he pressed the control panel. It didn't open. It scanned his wrist and rejected him. Access denied. Authorized. Brides only. Ethan cursed under his breath, slamming fist against the pod. Freedom was 1 door away, but locked. Suddenly, an arm wrapped around his waist. He tried fighting, but the grip was iron. Zyra pulled him back from the pod like he weighed nothing. Her voice was low, stormy. "Running again?" Ethan struggled, breath sharp. "Yes, because I didn't choose this life." Zyra's eyes flickered, hurt hidden behind pride. "And you think we chose to need you?" He stopped breathing for a second. Zyra released him slowly, like she was afraid he might break. Pain behind the power, Lunari arrived next. Breathless, heart in her eyes. She rushed to Ethan and held his face gently as if she feared he would vanish. "Ethan, we are not chains. We are partners. Let us prove it." Her voice shook. The calm healer was crying. Vexa entered last, arms crossed, pretending not to care, but her glowing eyes betrayed fear. "You're stupid for running," she muttered, softer than usual. "Stupid and brave. I like that." Ethan looked at them. Really looked. 3 alien women, powerful and dangerous, yet somehow vulnerable. They weren't laughing now. They weren't acting. They were afraid of losing him. Not possession, not ownership. Something deeper. He felt torn between freedom and connection. He is given a choice. The alarm fell silent. The enemy ship retreated, maybe fearing Zyra's strength, Lunari's magic, or Vexa's chaos. The ship steadied itself, gravity returned. For a moment there was peace. Zyra placed her spear aside and knelt, a warrior bowing to no one except him. "Human husband," she said quietly, "if you wish to leave, I will not chain you." Lunari lowered her eyes, tears shining like stars. "If you walk away now, we will not follow." Vexa looked away, voice sharp with pain. "But don't come back later asking for us." A silence thick as space settled. They gave him the one thing he didn't expect, freedom to choose. Ethan stepped toward the pod again, heart racing, hands trembling. One more step and he could be gone. One tap and he could return to Earth, to normal, to peace. But something unexpected happened. He hesitated. He remembered Zyra's courage, Lunari's gentleness, Vexa's wild laughter. They were intense, scary, but they cared for him more deeply than anyone ever had. Freedom or love, escape or destiny. His hand hovered over the pod control like a coin balanced in wind. He whispered, I don't know what I want." The three wives exhaled, like galaxies relaxed at once. Cliffhanger. His heart begins to change. He didn't leave. He didn't stay fully. He was trapped between worlds, but no longer only with fear. Something else began blooming inside him. Trust. Curiosity. Maybe. Affection. But danger was not finished. From deep space, a message came through. Prepare the husband. Council demands trial. Trial. For what? For marriage. For rebellion. Ethan was about to learn his role was bigger than love. It was political. Cosmic. Deadly. The message echoed through the ship like thunder inside bone. Prepare the husband. Council demands trial. Ethan's stomach twisted. Trial for what crime? He didn't ask to be here. He didn't ask to marry 3 alien women. He didn't even understand the rules of this galaxy. Zyra clenched her jaw, fists tightening like stone. Lunari placed a trembling hand over her heart. Vexa's smile died completely, the spark in her eyes replaced by something darker. Fear, not for themselves. For him. The council calls, a dangerous summons. Within minutes, the ship docked at a massive station floating like a moon carved from black crystal. Towers spiraled around it like horns, and rivers of blue plasma flowed through them like veins. This was no place of entertainment. This was the Galactic Council. A war world of laws, politics, and powers beyond imagination. As they walked the long corridor, Ethan stayed between his wives. Guards lined both walls, towering beings with armor like living stone. Their eyes glowed red whenever Ethan passed, like they were measuring his life value. Every step felt like walking toward a verdict already written. Zyra whispered without looking at him, "Trials here decide fates of planets. One wrong word can end a bloodline." He almost tripped. Lunari gently held his arm to steady him. "Do not fear. Speak from your heart." Easy for her to say. She wasn't the one on trial for existing. Vexa leaned close, whispering as if flirting, but voice tense. "If they try taking you, I blow up the room. Just say the word." Ethan swallowed hard. This was madness, love wrapped with danger. The trial begins. The council chamber opened like the inside of a star. Seats formed in a circle, filled with alien leaders of many species, some with wings, some with scales, some with 3 heads that whispered among themselves. At the center stood a single platform. Only room for one person, Ethan. He stepped forward, heart punching inside chest. The room watched like hawks above prey. Zyra, Lunari, and Vexa stood a few meters behind, close enough to see, too far to protect. A voice rose from the high judge, a creature made of smoke and steel. "Ethan Carter, human male. You are charged with claiming 3 brides across 3 sovereign species. Your union risks political war." Ethan stared, shocked. He never claimed anyone. He was dragged here by mistake. He opened his mouth to speak, but someone else spoke first. A tall alien male stepped forward, scales black like eclipse, horns spiraling backwards, eyes golden with hatred. "I challenge the human," he roared. "I am first suitor of Zyra's clan. She was promised to me, not to this soft creature." Zyra snarled. Hand on sword, rage carved across her jaw. Another alien woman, pale green with feathers, pointed at Lunari. And Lunari was healer of our sick. She was never meant for off-world marriage, especially with a human. Lunari lowered her gaze in shame. Then a buzzing voice echoed from behind, mechanical and sharp. "And Vexa belongs to the tech hives. Humans are too fragile for her chaos code bonding." Vexa spat sparks, furious. Ethan's throat tightened. 3 worlds hated him. 3 lovers stood behind him. He was center of a war storm he never wanted. "The council demands a trial of worth." The high judge spoke again. "The human must prove he is worthy, not of marriage, but of survival." Silence. Then the trial conditions appeared. Combat trial. Stand against a chosen warrior. Intelligence trial. Solve ancient puzzle of stars. Heart trial. Prove emotional bond with brides. If he failed even one, the marriages would break. He would be sent back to Earth alone, or executed. His knees weakened. Zyra stepped forward, placing hand on his shoulder like armor. "I will train you for combat." Lunari placed her palm on his back, warmth flowing into his spine. "I will guide your mind for puzzles." Vexa grabbed his hand with fierce intensity. "And I will teach you how hearts work. Pain, jealousy, love, all of it." Ethan looked at them. 3 forces, 3 futures. He was terrified. But for the first time, he didn't want to run. Not because he was trapped, but because 3 women believed he could do the impossible. He whispered, "I accept the trials." Gasps filled the chamber. Some laughed, expecting him to die. Some watched with interest, a rare human, fearless. The high judge nodded like fate just shifted. Then the first trial begins in 1 rotation. 1 day, only 1 day to train. Zyra's eyes burned with fierce hope. Lunari smiled with trembling joy. Vexa grinned like lightning ready to strike. Ethan felt it too, a spark in his chest. Fear was still there, but now something stronger stood beside it. Courage, because he wasn't fighting for life only. He was fighting for 3 hearts that chose him, even if he never meant to choose them. Tomorrow, he fights a warrior who wants Zyra. He solves puzzles older than galaxies. He proves love he barely understands, and 1 mistake could shatter everything. 1 day, just 1 day to prove himself worthy of 3 alien worlds. That night, the Starship Training Hall echoed with energy, walls shifting like holographic mountains, air glowing with power fields. Ethan stood there trembling, sweat dripping down his neck. Zyra paced in front of him like a lioness ready for war. "Hold the spear straight," she ordered. Ethan held it, shakily. "Straight!" Her shout slammed through his bones. She walked behind him, wrapped her strong hands around his elbows, and lifted his stance into perfect alignment. Her strength was overwhelming, but something about her touch felt grounding, like a storm teaching a leaf how to survive wind. He tried a swing. Zyra blocked it effortlessly and pushed him back. He hit the floor, again. "You cannot fight thinking like a human," she growled. Think like a warrior protecting what matters. He sat up, chest burning. What matters? Zyra knelt in front of him, eyes fierce. Us. The word hit him like an arrow. Sudden, sharp, undeniable. Lunari trains his mind. When his muscles could no longer lift the weapon, Lunari took him to the meditation chamber, a place filled with floating lights like memories. She placed a hand on his chest. Close your eyes. See your thinking, not your fear. He inhaled. The world melted into a star map. Vast, endless, silent. Golden constellations shifted like puzzle pieces waiting to fit. Lunari's voice guided him soft as wind. Trust the pattern. Everything in the universe connects, like us. Her hand trembled, her heart was in her voice. He tried focusing, connecting shapes. Stars spun, moved, merged. Slowly, patterns appeared. And for the first time, Ethan solved a puzzle not with strength, but with clarity. He opened his eyes. Lunari smiled with something fragile and beautiful. You see, you are more than you think. He didn't know if at the puzzle, or his destiny. Vexa teaches him heart, and jealousy. Last came Vexa. In the tech chamber filled with strange machines, neon wires, sparks dancing like hungry insects. She handed Ethan a glowing device and jumped onto a hovering table with no fear. Let's talk feelings, she said. He blinked. You? Feelings? She rolled her eyes. I feel plenty. I just hide them so they don't explode. He waited. She leaned closer, too close, eyes burning pink. Ethan, do you love us? His heart froze. He didn't know. He cared, yes. But love, marriage, destiny, everything still felt too big, too sudden. I don't know yet, he admitted softly. Vexa flinched, but she didn't move away. Instead, she laughed, bitter, but relieved. Good answer. Honest answer. Now fight for the chance to know. She strapped the device to his wrist, a thruster tool. If you fall tomorrow, use this. Fly, run, survive. Because I won't watch you die. His chest tightened. 3 women, 3 different hearts, yet all wanting him alive. Not as trophy, not as possession, but as partner. The trial begins. Next morning, the galactic arena opened like a blooming star. Billions watched across galaxies, history unfolding in real time. Ethan stepped onto the battlefield, hands shaking, breath cold as space. Across from him stood Zyra's challenger, a massive warrior twice Ethan's size, skin like black diamond, horns sharp as blades. The crowd screamed for blood. Zyra stood behind Ethan, voice fierce with faith. Remember, you fight with heart, not power. He nodded once. Gong! The trial began. The warrior charged, ground cracking beneath each step. Ethan jumped aside, barely surviving the first strike. Spear slashed air where his neck had been. Ethan countered, swing clumsy but brave. The warrior laughed, deep, cruel. A human cannot win a queen, Ethan's knees trembled. But he remembered Vexa's words, fly, run, survive. He pressed the thruster device on his wrist. Whoosh! His body shot upward like comet fire. Crowd gasped. No human had ever flown in combat. Ethan dropped behind the warrior, spear ready. He struck, not killing blow, but enough to drop the giant to one knee. The arena fell silent. The high judge stood. Combat trial passed. Zyra's eyes filled with burning pride. Trial 2. The star puzzle. A new sphere descended, glowing with shifting constellations. Ethan stepped forward, mind steady from Lunari's training. He breathed. He connected stars like memories. One wrong move would fail everything. His fingers traced the last line. Puzzle completed. Lunari covered her mouth, eyes shimmering like dawn. Intelligence trial passed. 2 worlds won, 1 left. Trial 3, heart, the final test. The judge spoke. Choose one bride. Gasps exploded across the chamber. Zyra's breath stopped. Lunari stiffened like ice. Vexa's smile shattered. Ethan's heart twisted painfully. Choose one, abandon 2. He stepped forward, voice shaking but strong. I choose. The universe leaned in to hear. None. Silence. Shock, chaos. Guards moved, ready to strike him for defying law, but Ethan continued louder. I choose all 3 because love should not divide. The chamber froze, laws breaking like glass. Zyra stepped beside him with fire, Lunari with light, Vexa with lightning. 3 hands reached his shoulders. 3 worlds stood behind him. The high judge slowly rose, and instead of anger, he bowed. Heart trial passed. The arena erupted in light like the birth of a star. Ethan won. Ethan proved himself. Ethan became husband of 3 worlds. But victory has a price. A shadow moved beyond the arena, unseen, silent, watching. A new enemy, a darker one. And this story wasn't over. Ethan Carter stood victorious in the arena. 3 trials passed, billions of eyes watching, history rewritten. He should have felt safe. He should have felt proud. But the universe rarely gifts peace without cost. As the cheers echoed across the chamber like thunder made of joy, Ethan felt a shiver. Cold, unnatural, crawling up his spine like an unseen hand. Something was wrong. Zyra sensed it first. Her warrior instinct sharpened like a drawn blade. Lunari's golden eyes darkened, fear forming like a storm behind calm skies. Vexa's electric aura flared, warning like lightning before impact. The high judge raised his voice. Let the universe witness. The human is now husband of 3 worlds. A beam of light crowned Ethan, connecting him with his wives. 3 streams of power wrapping around him like cosmic bond. But then, every light in the arena died. Darkness swallowed galaxies. A voice pierced the silence, deep, metallic, ancient. Unauthorized union detected. The ground trembled, ceiling cracked like eggshell. Black metal spikes erupted, forming an enormous gate of shadows. From within it stepped something no council prepared for. The unknown empire arrives, tall, silent. A figure made of void. No face, no flesh, only shape outlined by dying stars. Behind him, ships like floating knives drifted into view. The arena screamed. Guards rushed, but none dared touch the intruder. The entity spoke without mouth or lungs, voice like collapsing suns. Human blood dilutes alien sovereignty. Marriage must be purged. Ethan's heart froze. They didn't want rights. They wanted erasure. Zyra roared and placed herself between Ethan and the creature, spear igniting like emerald fire. "You will not touch him." Lunari raised both hands, healing light forming shields like wings. "Love is not crime." Vexa's tech blades shot from her wrists, electricity, crackling like wild stars. "Try us and break." The void creature extended one hand, absorbing their powers like dust in wind. Zyra staggered, Lunari gasped. Vexa's tech fizzled and died. One move, 3 wives down. Ethan stood alone, powerless, mortal, shaking like a leaf in a cosmic storm. The entity floated closer. Human, return to Earth willingly, or die with them. Ethan's breath shattered. He looked at Zyra, pride struggling through pain, at Lunari, tears falling like glowing rain, at Vexa, smile gone, fear raw and naked. He could flee. He could survive. He could save himself. But for the first time, he didn't want to. He stood tall, even if his legs trembled. "If they die, I die." The arena gasped as if one heart beat inside billions. Ethan stepped forward, not as prisoner, not as toy, but as husband. "You want to erase us? Then erase me first." The shadow creature hesitated. Cosmic law paused. Something it never calculated. Selfless love. The universe shook. The marriage seal on Ethan's arm ignited, brighter than any star. No longer bond, but power. The threads connecting him to Zyra, Lunari, and Vexa blazed like golden rivers. 3 hearts, 1 soul. The final fight. The void entity struck, a beam of black energy screaming toward Ethan like the end of worlds. He didn't run. He raised his arm, and the seal released a shockwave like supernova. The beam shattered. Energy flowed from Zyra, strength, from Lunari, healing, from Vexa, furious lightning. Ethan, powerless human, became weapon of 3 empires. He charged. The void creature countered with storms of dark matter. Ethan cut through them with spear forged from marriage light. Zyra regained her stance, roaring beside him. Lunari healed his burns even mid-strike. Vexa hacked the enemy ship overhead, raining electric fire. Together, unstoppable. The final blow came from all 4, husband and 3 wives, united like planets in perfect orbit. Boom! Light exploded. Darkness screamed. And then, silence. The Void Emperor dissolved into dust, consumed by the very power he tried to erase. Aftermath. The arena lights returned slowly, like dawn after long night. Crowds rose to their feet, cheering not for victory alone, but for transformation. A human, once alone and ordinary, now stood as symbol of unity across galaxies. Zyra placed a hand on his chest, proud, fierce. Lunari held his arm gently, warm, forgiving. Vexa wrapped herself around his back, laughing breathlessly, wild with relief. Ethan, still panting, looked at them with something new in his eyes. Not fear, not confusion, love. Not simple, not easy, but real. Ending, later, under open star fields, Ethan sat with 3 wives beside a glowing cosmic lake. No noise, no judges, no war, only starlight reflecting like diamonds across alien water. Zyra rested her head on his shoulder. Lunari held his hand. Vexa traced shapes on his palm like she was writing future. Ethan whispered, voice soft as promise, "I thought I joined a game show." Lunari smiled first. "But it gave me a family." He looked at the stars, endless, wild, alive, like his new life. And for first time since everything began, he did not want to go home. The end. But the universe stays open. If you ever want continuation, sequels, children, war arcs, homecoming, jealousy stories, new enemies, I can expand this universe into countless episodes anytime.